Hey guys, what's going on? Sincere here with whoissincere.com and All Rights Matter TV. Listen, guys, I just want to do a quick video here. I'm sitting out in my truck running some errands for the day, and I was watching a quick Ben Swann video, a reality check video, and he was discussing kratom. Kratom is a plant-based raw substance, naturally occurring, that helps many people with their with opioid addictions. Now, the Trump regime has touted that they will, be very big on helping folks with opioid problems. Instead, we've seen Trump, you know, um, pretty much slash funding for programs that would help people with opioid addiction. And moving forward, we're seeing organizations like the FDA clearly skewing data that's out there to criminalize a natural plant-based substance for no reason other than to benefit their pharmaceutical company connections. Now, the FDA is supposed to work on behalf of the American people. We all know, those of us who are awake, we all know that that's a joke. We know that that's not the truth whatsoever. The FDA is not going to work on your behalf, if you will. It's really sad what's going on in America, but what I wanted to do was kind of point out a very strong section of this video here, just so you can see. And I'll leave a link to Ben Swann's video in the description box, but I want you guys to be able to see the very important part of this video that stood out to me the most. So it's a couple minutes long. Let's go ahead and go through that, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Went on to challenge the claims by the FDA by pointing out that available science is clear that kratom, although having effects on opioid receptors in the brain, is distinct from classical opioids like morphine and heroin and oxycodone in its chemistry, they say, biological effects, and origin. Again, kratom is not poppy-based. It is a tree in the coffee family, and therefore it has a reportedly milder euphoric effect than traditional opioids and opiates. The other, though, important rebuttal that these scientists made was to point out that the FDA used significantly flawed information when it claimed that kratom was responsible for 36 deaths. Quote, the fatalities that the FDA lists as having been associated with kratom include deaths with a wide variety of apparent causes in people suffering from various diseases and or taking other substances that also likely contributed to their deaths. For example, it includes 9 fatalities in Sweden that resulted from an adulterated product that included the active substance of the prescription opioid tramadol. So, in response, last week, the FDA commissioner released more information on those who have died. The agency says, again, from kratom, but that information was even more stunning. According to HuffPo, almost all the FDA's cases involve subjects who were found to be on multiple substances at the time of their death, with the vast majority including either illicit or prescription drugs that carry well-known fatal risks. The FDA's list of kratom-related deaths, it includes a 43-year-old man determined to have died from complications due to deep vein thrombosis. He had a long list of medical problems. At the time of his death, he had recently been prescribed 5 different medicines. His toxicology test, it came back positive for opioids, Xanax, antidepressants, and a medication apparently used to treat his Tourette's syndrome. He also tested positive for kratom. Now, one case also involves a man who had fallen out of a window, broken his arm, and refused treatment before dying. He was ultimately found to have 9 different substances in his bloodstream, among them the primary psychoactive substance in kratom. Now, one case the FDA listed as a kratom-related death, which has been completely redacted in the document, by the way, appears elsewhere in an agency database as a death by homicide due to a gunshot wound to the chest. So why is the FDA doing this? Well, we don't know the motives of the FDA, but as I've shown you in the past, the FDA suffers from severe conflicts of interest, especially when it comes to the revolving door between the agency and Big Pharma. With the government spending more than $500 billion per year to fight the opioid epidemic, you could assume that there are lines of pharmaceutical companies looking for product alternatives. But remember that any naturally occurring substance like kratom, it cannot be privately patented. So there's no real profit for the big pharma companies in
Boom.
kratom. In this interview on CNBC, the FDA commissioner does actually reinforce that suspicion. Listen.
We know that there's a lot of good therapy already on the market. There's 3 approved drugs that help treat opioid addiction, and we're open to looking at new products. And so we are putting out additional guidance documents and policies to try to create a bigger market for people who want to come in and develop products to treat opioid addiction. We don't think kratom is one of those products.
So what you need to know is that while I won't speculate about what the FDA is ultimately trying to do, I can tell you what the FDA wants done. The agency wants kratom to become subject to an FDA new drug application. To be clear, they say a naturally occurring plant taken in its raw form that's helping millions of people right now needs to be banned and become subject to a study that would take no less than 10 years and could cost up to $2.5 billion. More importantly,
Well, let's
what
listen.
the FDA is recommending is exactly the opposite of the agency's charge. There is no evidence that kratom on its own is harming anyone. And so the question remains, if the FDA is successful, will the agency actually push millions of people toward more dangerous alternatives, including harmful opioids? And if so, how is that making the fight against opioid abuse a priority?
There you go. Ben Swann is very eloquent in the way that he displays his information. I really enjoy the way that he does his reality check segment. So I want to give kudos to him and a shout out, some respect his way. But this is just more evidence of the FDA not working on behalf of the American consumers, but working on behalf of their big pharma buddies, on behalf of the corporations. This is not going to benefit anyone but those players. It won't benefit you and I. So for the millions of people that are suffering from opioid addiction, kratom is obviously a great alternative for them. It has worked out well for them. There are no real studies out there that suggest that kratom is killing anyone in mass numbers or any real numbers at all. So the FDA is obviously skewing information to the American public so that more of their buddies can benefit and prosper. And again, just like the FDA head said, they're not they're not opposed to opioid drugs to help opioids. They just want their people to make them. That's all. They don't want it to be a substance that they can't put a patent on. So that's our government. Anything that's good for us, they're going to try to ban it right away. Anything that's bad for us, they'll develop it to us and sell it to us. And we have to get out of that cycle. It's coming out now. Marijuana is a cure for so many things. Kratom is helping with so many different ailments. I seen something about a substance called GCMAF or something like that. There's so many different things out there that people are finding extremely beneficial. Alkaline water. So many things that if you just change your diet a little bit here and there and get rid of all this GMO food, the science food that we're eating right now, developed by the corporations, then you can live a longer, healthier lifestyle. And I think that's important. I think that's important that we have the ability to do that without plants being put onto a list, you know, eh, as Schedule 1 drugs. They want to put kratom on a list as a Schedule 1. Can you imagine that? If they could take a raw plant-based substance that has not killed anybody, like kratom, and then put it as a Schedule 1. Oh, wait, that's happened before. Marijuana. Okay, so at the end of the day, we can't allow this to happen. We can't allow them to continue to take natural elements and schedule them as drugs. It has to stop. It has to stop. Where do we draw the line before they just start taking up full crops and saying, hey, all of this is a Schedule 1 and can be used as a drug, or it could be, dried and ground down into a fine powder and used as an element in a drug. So, we have to go ahead and schedule corn. I mean, it's already GMO corn, but we're going to go ahead and schedule it too. We're facing so many different rules and regulations against the American society that this is not how the republic was ever supposed to work. Taxation like this is criminal. Taxation is theft anyway. You didn't agree to be taxed your whole life on everything you buy, every service that is rendered on your paycheck. So you're being taxed all the way around in everything that you do. If they could tax the air you breathe, they would. And trust me, they're looking on ways to do that too. So that's the problem that I'm having with what's going on. This is sad. This is really sad. Hey, look, I'm on TV. I'm on TV. Sorry. That was just going through my head. But this is hopefully, you know, we're gonna figure out a way to beat these people. I don't have any full head-on solutions to offer at this point. I won't lie to you. My job right now is just pointing out what the corruption is, where the corruption is, and how these people work. There are going to be some solutions that come eventually. All I can say is to fight back by contacting your local government, your state legislators. Um, let them know, hey, listen, when you go up there to vote on these bills and amendments and stuff, I don't want you to support anything that would ban natural substances. Let them know you want them to start petitions and to sign petitions that would protect natural substances from being banned by the FDA, based on their track record of banning natural substances that could have helped. Imagine if the FDA, imagine if marijuana was not a Schedule 1 substance, and we were able to do valid scientific research out in the open that anybody could have access to over the course of the last 50 years. Do you think that cancer would be around? Do you think that other ailments, people would even suffer from seizures and other ailments as much? No, they wouldn't. So the FDA already has a track record that does not support um, helping the general American public, because based on their analysis and based on their criminalization and scheduling of natural substances, millions of people have died, at their hands. So why would we trust them to say this about kratom? And the scientists are even coming out and they're making their own petition saying, hey, look, we're letting you guys know the FDA is skewing information here. And kratom is not responsible for any of these 36 cited deaths, around the world. 36 out of a multi-billion-dollar industry. 36 that aren't even valid. Okay? How many deaths are caused by opioids every day? More than 36. Thousands of people are dying every year in the United States. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people are dying from opioids. And if you can have a substance like kratom to be able to wean people off of the opioid addiction, also it's healthy for the body. Um, then why why put it as a Schedule 1 if you're not doing it just to benefit your crony corporate buddies? So just wanted you guys to see that, and give you a heads up as far as what the FDA is doing. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. Get this out to a lot of your friends. I'm going to be doing videos like this, just going around my general life. I'm doing errands today. I think I got to go grab my laundry, but just running some errands today. So I'm just going to be doing pop videos like this, just wherever I see something that is interesting to talk about. I'm going to talk about it with you guys, and we can have a discussion about it in the description. Oh, well, no, not in the description box, but in the comment section below. So again, like, share, subscribe to the channel, guys, and yeah, stay alert, stay alive.